Okay, so we've looked at deriving trig functions, and now we have to do the opposite process, finding their primitives and then integration. And this is going to help us do the sine squared and cos squared topic. So, what do we know? We know that the derivative of sine x is cos x. We know the derivative of cos is nearly the same. It's a minus sign. And the derivative of tan x is sec squared x. So now we need to be able to go in reverse. So if I'm looking for the integral of sine x, the integral of cos x, and the integral of sec squared x. So have a look here, the integral of sine. So where is sine a derivative? Well, sine's a derivative here, but there's a minus. So the integral of sine x, oops, didn't need that. The integral of sine x is a minus cos x. Think about it. The integral of cos x, well, cos x is a derivative here, so the integral is just a straight sine x. And the integral of sec squared x is just tan x. So we're going the opposite direction. So tan derives to sec squared, sine derives to cos, and minus cos will derive to sine, or cos will derive to minus sine. You'll notice there's no integral of tan x. We've got a sine and a cos. That comes later, that's actually a log. There is no straight integration, but we can do it as a log, and we do that later on this year. So what about then when there's some numbers in front? For instance, what would the integral of sine 3x be? Well, this is the opposite process. So when we derived, if we derive sine 3x, we derived the 3x, and we got a 3, and we multiplied by that 3, and we rewrote the rest of it down. Okay, well that's deriving. Integration, or finding the primitives, is the opposite. So instead of multiplying, we're going to divide. Okay, so back to the integral of sine 3x up here. So the 3x is going to appear again. So I'm going to put that at the end. The sine, well, we need to work out what the integral of sine is. Back down here, the integral of sine is a minus cos. So I'm going to put the minus at the front, put a cos there, not very nicely written, and then we need to work out the number, because think about it. If you derive minus cos 3x, you'll have a 3 at the front, and then you'll have your minus. So you'll have minus 3 sine 3x, which we've nearly got. But instead of timesing by it, we divide by it. So if we put minus a third there, and then go from here and think, do you get this as your answer for the derivative if we go backwards? Derivative of 3x is 3, times it by a third, we get 1. That's what we've got here. And we've got our minus. That's correct. So, simple instruction. Take what the trig function is, 3x, and find the derivative of it and divide by that derivative, don't times. Otherwise it's the same. And of course we need our plus c. Okay. Why is that not working? Okay, what about another one? What about the integral of 2 cos x? Okay, well, we've seen the numbers at the front just hang about. So put that number at the front. The integral of cos is sine, and we write the x down. And do we need to divide by anything? Well, the derivative of x is 1, but we're not going to divide by 1, so that's our answer. Why is it not working? Alright, what about the integral of 3 sec squared 2x dx? Getting the dx's here. Okay, so let's take it apart. The 3 just stays there. We can fix it up later, just write what we've got now. The integral of sec squared x, forget the 2 at the moment, the integral of sec squared x is a tan squared 2x. So whatever's here, simply rewrite here. And the last step is to divide by the derivative of the 2x, which is 2 plus c. So we don't need to fix that one up. That one looks okay. Next, what about if we have the integral of a half sine a third x minus a quarter cos 2x dx. So two separate terms here, which we do separately. So break it down. A half just stays there. If you like, you can put it in brackets. The integral of sine is a minus cos. So for the moment, just put a minus cos here, a third x. And then we're going to divide by the derivative of a third x, which is a third. Now clearly we need to fix that one up in a minute. Minus, leave the quarter there, pop it in brackets to be safe. The integral of cos is sine 2x, and then we divide by the derivative of 2x and put a plus c. So if there's a minus, put it out the front first. A half divided by a third, well, you can do that in your brain, I don't think you need a calculator. This one is inverted, so 3 comes up to the top. So we've got a 3 on 2, we've put the minus out already, cos a third x minus, and again invert this one, the 2 will go to the bottom, that's 2 on 1, isn't it? So if you flip that, so therefore we've got an 1/8, if you must do it on your calculator, do so, sine 2x plus c. And that's our integral for that one. So you can go and practice some of these, but there's 3 parts essentially. If there's a number there, just leave it there. Integrate the trig function, divide by the derivative of what's being sined, cosed or tanned. And that's it. Have fun.